No Harry Potter movie is
And
good.
you're like, give me the Snyder Cut. Oh, sorry, just walk in front of you here. Gonna put my popcorn down. Oh, sorry, gotta put this here.
Universal needs to sue Sony.
Hey, I'm an idiot. I was fired from Fox. Let me go.
I'd like actually to see Venom just crush Spider-Man.
Hello everyone, so I'm back today, and I'm here to do a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, this is very likely going to be the hardest review I have ever made. Now you may be wondering why, considering it's a Marvel movie, and typically these reviews are, oh my god, that was awesome, I loved it. But, unfortunately, I don't know if that's true. Now, I think my opinion on this movie is going to shift wildly, and when I say wildly, I mean extremely wildly over the next 48 hours. But, for now, I have to be honest, okay? I don't know if I loved the movie. Now, look, don't get me wrong. It was fun. And I think there were certainly moments which, I don't know what Marvel is doing, okay? And maybe this is just me. Maybe it's not. But this is the thing. I don't know if they're okay, this is the thing. This movie felt very Star Warsy. Okay, I'm going to talk a lot about this whenever I talk about this movie from now on. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. It didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie, though. And I don't know why, but it just didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. Like, I feel like Ant-Man needs to be very small. Puns are all intended here, okay? It needs to be a very small-scale movie, and I think when you try to set up too much with Ant-Man, you kind of ruin the character, right? And also I think this movie felt very much like this weird, setup movie rather than, a story about Ant-Man. And I wanted the story about Ant-Man and not the weird setup for an Avengers movie that's not coming out for 5 years. And, because, you think back to, Phase 1, right? There were no weird setup movies, really. There were a little bit, you can argue maybe Captain America, the first Avenger, but that was a story, and then the last 5 minutes were a setup, right? The end credit scenes were what used to be the things that set up the future movies. Now it's I'm watching an hour of a setup for a movie that's not coming out for 5 years. Or 3 years, I guess, or whatever. And so that's what I'm kind of conflicted on right here. Because I think, well, first of all, let's just talk about the best part of this movie, which was Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is a star. Paul Rudd continues to be a star, and Paul Rudd just exists as a star, okay? Janet Van Dyne Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet Van Dyne was amazing. And, of course, Kang. Those three things, easily, by far and away, the best parts of the movie. Now, the less best parts of the movie were basically everything else. I think the dialogue was very on and off of, is this just, repeat and rinse and repeat from, other Marvel movies to, I predicting what's going to happen to what the hell is happening, right? Well, okay. The quantum people, let's call them that. So that's the first part of this, I guess. Why are you doing this, okay? Marvel, you're better than this. Disney, you're better than this, I think. We don't need to do this every single time. It was fun the first few times. I'm not going to lie to you. These quirky, you know what this movie was? And I had a hunch, mainly because, of course, you're using an Elton John song which relates to a yellow brick road in your trailers, and you literally made the show of Loki into the you made Kang in Loki basically the Wizard of Oz. This is the Wizard of Oz movie, right? Kang is basically was set up as the Wizard of Oz. And what I mean by that is he was a fraud, obviously, right? It was a red herring. And I think Marvel is trying to do something clever here, I think. But again, am I just reading too much into it which is why I think it's clever. Like, is it just I can't. I'm just assuming it's not a coincidence, but it still feels like, you think about it. They're luring everyone into a false sense of, I guess, security. I'm not sure what to like. Like they're trying to like really lure you to say, oh, this is Kang, but then it's like, oh no, we're just gonna kill him. I still have no clue what Kang is, like what his deal is. Mainly because I think we've gotten like 5 different Kangs. So, because like Loki Kang is different than this Kang. I think I don't remember Loki well enough to tell you that for sure. But if it is, then we got 2 Kangs now, but then we also got a bunch of them in the end credit scene. So I'm kind of confused now. Also, the whole Ant-Man fakes up. Like, they really did need to do the whole Ant-Man should have stayed. I had to stay in the quantum realm to, like, keep Kang contained, because that would have been the perfect way to, like, explain away some of this stuff for 3 years. But because they decided to turn Kang into a red herring, and again, why? Like, I don't know what the point is. And maybe this is, like, the thing where we're gonna... I just think they're trying to do Thanos, but they're trying too hard this time, and I think they're gonna mess something up. Like, I think they're trying to do something different, and I don't know if that's gonna work for them. Like, I don't know. The tone of this movie felt very much like, we're gonna make people have fun. But that's gonna be it. There's gonna be no substance, right? And I think what I really wanted was a little bit more of a... I guess, weirdly enough, again, I know this is an Ant-Man movie, but, like, a little bit more substance. Now, let's move on to the thing which probably made me the most annoyed. And that is MODOK. Yes, that MODOK. So first of all, cool reveal, Marvel. Good job. Darren Cross, MODOK. Didn't see that one coming. No, actually, I didn't see that one coming, because I avoid spoilers on the internet. But, and that's serious, like, I did not see that coming. But this is the thing. You've got one more chance, Marvel, okay? One more chance. If you turn another cool villain into a bleeding heart hero-ish thing or whatever, I'm done, okay? This is your last chance. Taskmaster, I was like, okay. Ghost, in the last Ant-Man movie, I was like, okay, fine. MODOK now. MODOK. Like, I understand, and obviously, you've got, like, I guess Gore. I don't think Gore was really in that category, but, whatever. I mean, I guess technically Gore was. Anyways, you gotta stop doing this, Marvel. Look, Thanos was different. Hela was different. Loki was different. I need a villain. You need to give us a villain eventually, okay? Look, sympathy is an important thing to have for a character, but that doesn't mean they have to be good guys. Like, the thing about Thanos was bad and was always evil. Like, Thanos is never a good guy at any point in any time he was on screen. But you could still relate to what he wanted to do without saying, hey, Thanos, I agree. I mean, there were people who agreed with, but you know what I mean? Like he was a villain. Right? Weirdly enough, Red Skull was a villain, right? Ronan, the Accuser, was a villain. Now, some of those were too villainous, right? Like, they were too one-dimensional. But you gotta give us villains, man. Like, real villains. Like, villains who stay villains. Like, I just need a villain who is evil. I didn't think that was gonna be too much to ask. But, like, ever since Bucky Barnes, and that pisses me off so much about that story is... like, his story is, like, he has become the standard of, oh, Marvel's making villains into heroes now. Look, Bucky's story worked for him, one can argue. We don't need to see it again and again and again. Like, you turned Ghost, Taskmaster, and MODOK into heroes. Think about that. You ruined 3 of the most, like, intimidating kind of Marvel villains. And don't even get me started on Atuma. Oh my god. The way you handled that one was atrocious. Like, why can't you just make villains evil and who want to do evil things and are doing evil things without making it like we gotta make them good? Good doesn't mean just character. It just means good. Like, why'd you have to kill off MODOK? Now, look, there are other problems, like MODOK's CGI made him look terrible, and, I mean, I guess maybe you can't do better in live action, I don't know. Maybe, maybe if I were them, then again, I'm not them, but I would have gone just full animated MODOK, very, like, animated within the movie, obviously, rather than trying to make it, like, realistic, because it didn't, I don't know if it worked. It just looked bad. The helmet looked better on him than off him. It looked wrong. And I think MODOK's supposed to look wrong, but not like that. You know what I mean? Like MODOK is supposed, and also MODOK, like he was a little bit too circular to be, like too ovally to be MODOK. MODOK's supposed to be a little bit more like kind of like circular, squarey, and he was more oval. I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Anyways, just because I'm very conflicted. Some of the jokes were good, some of them were bad. Like, I understand if you did not like this movie, I understand it. But if you just loved it, I also understand it. So I don't know what I think. And I know this is probably a bad thing because I feel like if you're watching this, you want to know what I think. But I really, like, I honestly can, like, I can tell you with 100% certainty, I have no fucking clue what I think of this movie. I don't know. Because, like, there are elements of it which are just amazing. Then there are elements of it which just suck. And there are elements that, like, I don't know. Like, because, like, on one hand you got the MODOK thing, right? Then you got, like, is this really a self-contained Ant-Man story? Or is this, like, this weird, like, setup movie? Which I feel like we're getting so many goddamn setup movies, like, Marvel was at its best when they were making their individual standalone movies with, like, the end credits scene. Like, I don't need my movies being, like, I don't want to be hating, though. I don't want to be a hater. I like liking Marvel. But, like, why does everything have to be set, like, Marvel feels like there might be falling into the trap, which everybody else fell into. Everything is a fucking setup for something else. Without giving us a story, and like just self-contained story. Like, what was the biggest problem we had with the way that the Snyder verse was, right? It was the underdeveloped characters on one hand, but on the other hand, it was also like the fact that everything was a setup for something else. Like, you just had to do more. You know what I mean? Like there, you could never, like, Lex Luthor just had to connect to Darkseid because you can't not do that, right? And it's like, why? I don't need cameos and all this. Like, I want a superhero movie about. I feel like I'm becoming one of those people, and I don't like it very much, right? Like, I want to love it, but I can't fully love it. Like, you know what I find weird? The whole, like, thing Black Panther 2 was setting up in that kind of side of the MCU is so much more interesting right now than this weird Kang stuff. And I'm, like, a Kang fan. That's what makes this worse. I love Kang as a character in the comics, but yet I don't feel invested in any of this cosmic or multiverse, whatever the hell they're doing right. Like, I feel more invested in, like I want to see more of that geopolitical stuff, with Black Panther and Shang-Chi and the Thunderbolts, I'm assuming, and and Caps. Like, I want more of that stuff and less of this weird cosmic multiverse Kang stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is the right, like, I feel like you're jumping back into this whole, like, because, like, it's funny. So, like, it's very ironic because, like, I felt the exact opposite way going into Infinity War, right? Where I was like, I don't need the Civil War stuff. I want more of this cosmic Thanos stuff, right? Like, that was the more interesting thing. But now the MCU's made their more interesting thing this kind of B plot line, right? Just like how Civil War was I guess Thanos was like the B plot line technically up until Endgame, right? Also, like, can someone tell me what the rules are of the multiverse or the quantum realm or whatever? Like, first of all, the Ant-Man and the Wasp and all these people shrinking and growing in the quantum realm, right? But aren't you really, really small? So like, are you growing and shrinking in like, is the quantum realm like another dimension where you're like normal height, or are you like really really small? Because then how can you just shrink small? I thought there was like that was a bad thing. Like you couldn't shrink small. I thought like when you're in the quantum realm, you're like the tiniest. So how do you make yourself smaller? Like I don't understand. Like, is there another realm under? Like if they it's like what if Ant-Man did the thing where he overloaded whatever like he did in the first one, and shrunk into the quantum realm, but in the quantum realm, would he get back up to his normal realm, or would he go to another realm? Like, is there like a quantum? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do this, just give me explanations, and then the growing thing, like how does that really work? Because on one hand, you know, if you grow too much, don't you just leave the quant? Isn't the quantum realm the place you go when you shrink? So if you grow, don't you leave? Like, why is that? Like, I don't understand. Why was that so difficult? I thought the whole thing was like the quantum realm was the place you go when you shrink, and then you shrink and shrink and shrink, and then you go into the small realm. You know, it's like in like Super Mario Bros. Or whatever, when like when you get the small mushroom, right, the blue one, and then you go in the pipe, but like it's a small pipe only for small people, like the small Mario, and you jump in that pipe, and then you go to another place where it's like, and it's like a little thing, and it's only small Mario can be in there, right? It's like that. That's what I thought it was like. But now it's like, no, you're gonna go to, it's like like when you go to the small pipe, but then you can go into a normal sized room, right? So then you can shrink and grow. But then Big Mario can't be in that room, so I'm confused. Basically, why does Mario have more defined logic than the Marvel movies? I don't understand it. So yeah, I don't understand that. Also, they have this obsession with holes. I'm not sure if they're talking about the movie or something much, much, much more disturbing. But there was a lot of just that randomness to it, and I don't know if I love that very much. Like, maybe Marvel just needs to... Also, they said the word dick like 4 times in a row. Like, I don't know. It was like, was someone like did they have like a 3-year-old write that and say, I'm allowed to say this word? Oh, this is so... Because, it's like giving like a child permission to say it, and then they just use it like 4 times in a row because they can. It felt like that, and I'm like, is Marvel written by... Like, that was one of those moments where I'm like, is Marvel written by a bunch of children? Like, is this like, oh, you're allowed to say this word now, honey? Oh, yeah, da. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Did you like this? Like I've talked about this for 17 minutes. I still don't know if I liked it. This is the most conflicted I've ever been about a Marvel movie before. I've never felt this conflicted about whether or not I liked a Marvel movie. Because, like, on one hand, it did all the things, which, if it was any other movie, I would be like, oh, what the hell? Like, it did the thing where it doesn't define the powers. One of my biggest pet peeves is when powers aren't defined and they just kind of make stuff up as they go. And then, on the other hand, I don't know. And also some of the jokes didn't hit. I don't know. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts. Follow us on social media at comicboys_. By the time this comes out, I would have already appeared on Cobb's Corner podcast. So you want to check that out. There's a link somewhere on the screen. That'll probably give me more. That'll give you more of my fleshed out thoughts on this movie. In case my 18 minutes of rambling didn't really do it for you. But yeah, subscribe. And let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments, because I'm really conflicted. I need people to tell me what to think of this movie. I know you're probably here to think what I'm telling you to think, but I need someone to tell me, because I don't know what to think. Do I like it? Do I hate it? I don't know. Please, someone help me here. Help me. Tell me what I'm supposed to like or hate, or what. Like, is this movie a good movie? Please help me here. Okay, in the comments. Thank you. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go.